What if you had $4 billion? What if you spent $2.5 billion and you ended up losing $40 billion? Would that be considered a good deal? I happen to say not. David Benoit, maybe you have a different point. No, I don't think there's a different way. We're talking, of course, about Bank of America's 2008 purchase of Countrywide, what was then one of the country's largest mortgage makers.
Yeah.
Tell us, now that we're on the 4-year anniversary of that deal, now that it's graduated to seniorhood, how has it fared?
Yeah, it is not such a great deal. I think is the nicest way to put it. Certainly, I think the bank has fought this, been fighting the fallout from this deal for the last couple of years. It's really distracted them, and it looks like it costs about over $40 billion in total.
Right. Now, explain to people why there are $40 billion in losses.
So a lot of that is both mortgage losses on the loans that Countrywide made. You remember they were out there lending to everyone that they could. So, the bank had to take losses on those loans. It includes settlements with regulators and with law enforcement. Both they paid Angelo Mozilla, the former CEO.
Right.
They wound up paying most of his settlement with the SEC.
Maybe there should be a clawback for Ken Lewis. Now, he's the architect of the modern Bank of America.
It's true.
Doesn't that make sense? I mean, you think about the concept of the clawback, David, that people responsible for trading losses should bear some of the responsibility. Right. I mean, the losses on that more than probably exceed the value he created for shareholders over that time period.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the stock's down 68% since the deal closed, so certainly they're feeling that. I think if Ken Lewis was CEO today, there would certainly be clawbacks.
Right.
But I don't know if they can go back and get them. But
it's also an interesting exercise to think, David, what would Bank of America have been like through the crisis absent both Countrywide and Merrill Lynch?
Yeah. Certainly, I think today with Merrill Lynch, they're stronger. I think Merrill Lynch has turned into a better deal.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Because that investment banking operations they have and the wealth management is really kind of the key part that's really growing inside the bank. Mm-hmm. They're spending so much time every quarter working on this mortgage problem, trying to get rid of the bad mortgages, trying to handle the legal fallout.
Right.
That Countrywide really is consuming them and taking a hit. Consumers question, you hear all the time, Bank of America is, people complaining about it, and that's because of kind of, I think, the fallout from this deal.
Right.
But Merrill Lynch, really, they've had, it was bad at the time.
So you're pro Merrill Lynch and anti Countrywide?
I would say, yeah, I think that's probably pretty fair.
Right. Okay. So where do we go from here now? The CEO, Brian Moynihan. I don't know. He's not an inspiring figure, but maybe inspiration isn't what the job's about.
Yeah, I think that's the question we've kind of seen him answer a little bit this year, actually. I think last year there were a lot of questions. Remember, they failed the stress test. They didn't get to pay the dividend he had promised. Right. And people were really kind of getting fed up with him. But this year, they've made some progress on the numbers they're supposed to have, their capital. Mm-hmm. And really, they've been out of the spotlight. I mean, it's Jamie Dimon right now that's getting yelled at in Washington, not Brian Moynihan.
Right. Now, for the year, Bank of America stock
is one of the best in the Dow.
Right. Now, of course, that's from its depth, the depths and depths of its lows.
It's still below $10.
And yet we see what's going on in Europe, and one can't help but think that there are bigger shocks, perhaps, to the banking system overall. Despite however much money they can throw, billions of dollars can throw into the recapitalization of the European banks.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of questions left to be answered about banking in general.
But not about this deal. This deal we can categorically, affirmatively, indubitably conclude perhaps one of the worst deals of all time.
Yeah, certainly in banking.